Well, yowza, bowza, wowza, holy cowza, what's happening nowza? Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Smackdown Review Live. I am Brian Zane, and we are going to talk about what happened tonight on Smackdown Live. Friday Night Smackdown. It's not live anymore. I'm pretty sure that wasn't live tonight. But we're here tonight, folks. First off, rest in power to Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We have a lot to discuss here in this week's episode of Smackdown. Thank you all for coming here tonight. Let's begin with the dirt sheet. We got Miz and John Morrison. First of two interview segments in one night, by the way. So keep that in mind in a 2-hour show. Miz asserts that he's not trying to break up Mandy Rose and Otis. He's trying to help Otis. Well, I mean, he is trying to break them up, but he's trying to help Otis as well by saying, you know, she was weighing him down and basically causing a distraction. So that was the one last obstacle Otis needed to overcome to achieve his Money in the Bank greatness. And they kind of imply that Mandy's already moved on. And as they're talking about that and dropping some innuendo, out comes Otis, who then starts fighting them. Tucker shows up and he helps out. Otis flattens Miz in the ring, goes to leave, but he comes back there and strips Miz down to his tighty-whities. Somewhere in the back, Vincent McMahon was laughing his balls off on that one. Then backstage, we see Miz saying it was all part of the plan. He gets on the phone and he asks if it was enough. And they give a thumbs up. Something's afoot here. And we're not done with that story yet. We'll see where this goes as the night goes on. But I was wondering, what the hell could they possibly be scheming about here? Are they going to imply that Otis sexually assaulted the Miz or something? Like, that's why he stripped him down? Like, what are they going to do? What are they going to pin him with to continue to meddle in the Money in the Bank affairs of Otis? That's where that segment ends, that chapter ends. Our first match of the evening, Grand Metalik versus Cesaro, one half of the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. We see some more tension between Lince Dorado and Kalisto, kind of fighting over the ownership or the leadership of Lucha House Party right now. I am digging, like, this kind of subtle rift here. I mean, Lord knows there's enough subtle rifts right now, I feel, across all the shows, and things like not being as good as they used to be in terms of like unity and teasing of breaking up. So, like, I feel we're seeing this play out a lot of different ways. I wish that they had more creativity among them to say, like, hey, let's do something else to justify a breakup than have natural jealousy and professional, like, tension throughout. But that's what we're doing with Lucha House Party right now. It's a fine match. As the match goes on, though, Kalisto and Grand Metalik are ejected for meddling. It's weird to see them in street clothes, by the way, with their masks. Am I wrong in saying that? Good athletic stuff here. Metalik looks impressive flying around and stuff, but Cesaro ultimately wins with the neutralizers. They get a little bit of heat back after the last couple of shows being embarrassed at the hands of the Street Profits here. We then go backstage, see Jey Uso being interviewed about tonight's, Samoan Street Fight. He says last week was a miscommunication, according to Paul Heyman, but Roman's got his back tonight, he says. Will he, though? I mean, will he really? It's 50-50 at this point. Damn, that's some good H2O. We had a Matt Riddle segment, which made me chuckle. He talks about the versatility of the word bro, happy bro, sad bro, anger bro, introspective bro, afraid bro, confident bro, falsifying evidence in order to discredit your mistress bro, that sort of thing. He's got a bro for all seasons, and he's just, wow, it's just a really versatile word, that bro. We then go to our next interview segment of the night, a moment of bliss, where she brings out her guest, is her best friend, Nikki Cross. And I'm immediately just confused by all this. Like, everything that happens in this segment here is something that realistically should have all been addressed, like, behind closed doors immediately after their match last week, I feel. So Bliss asks Nikki, how can you prepare against Bayley? Bayley's had your number every single time. And Nikki says there's no Sasha Banks in the corner this time, so she'll have Bayley all to herself. She says she will win at Clash of Champions to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion. And then Nikki wants to go, what happened last week? What was up with what you did when you hit me with Sister Abigail and all that stuff? And Bliss is like, oh gosh, it's so difficult to remember and to think about. I don't know what happened to me. Like, okay, if you're best friends, why aren't you talking about that? Like, immediately after. Why? It feels like they're just now talking about this 1 week after the fact. Were they not in communication this whole time? I felt that was really weird and really kind of didn't take me out of it, but I thought it was a really weird place to bring that up. Like, at least change the verbiage in the script a little bit to imply or to establish that, hey, we've talked about this, or I've tried to get a hold of you, but you like never return my calls. Like, just literally something, some little detail that can help kind of quality control and just make it real, make it some kind of real. And we'll get to something that feels realistic between friends or former friends in a little bit. But as Alexa tries to explain what's going on, Lacey Evans shows up, immediately starts talking trash. She tells Nikki that she won't beat Bayley because Nikki does not have a mean streak. And Nikki takes Lacey's handkerchief and blows her nose in it. They have a scuffle. And then we have a scheduled match between them after the commercial break. And as the match goes on, Alexa Bliss, as she often does, joins commentary here. Lacey now has a giant, cartoonishly large bottle of hand sanitizer that she kind of rubbed in her hand at the top of the match here. Cole keeps pressing Alexa about like what happened last week, but she's deflecting an awful lot. And I feel like this match kind of dragged to begin with, and the commentary was not helping things because it was just like this back and forth over and over where Cole's like, what happened? And this is like, I'm not going to tell you. And like, it just that was all the conversation was for the entirety of this matchup here. Lacey squirts some of the hand sanitizer into Nikki's eyes, and I agree with Michael Cole. That should have been a DQ. That is alcohol in the eyes, for God's sake. Do you know how potent, especially if it's like not like well-made hand sanitizer? You know, some of the hand sanitizers you get at the store that aren't like Purell, or they're not like the really good brands, and they smell really funky and stuff because they're made by like vodka distilleries who don't know how to do the right proportions. Like, that's what that is. And so, you know, God, you've got like the risk of just totally fucking up her eyesight with that. So yeah, that should have been a DQ, but it wasn't. Nikki fires up though, shows her aggressive side. Nikki wins the neck breaker. Then after the match, Lacey sells at the announce table, kind of getting up, talking more trash to Alexa. And she's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to get the Fiend? And oh, there's the trigger word. It's like, oh God, it's the Naked Gun when Ricardo Montalban presses the button to turn on like the murder mode in the maid and the baseball player and everything. So yeah, the Fiend is the trigger word. Alexa gets up. She's in a trance. She hits Sister Abby onto Lacey, and she walks off again. So we established in commentary in the beginning of this matchup here, and then at the end of this segment, the Fiend is the trigger phrase, which I feel is a bit unsubtle, whatever that word is. Whatever the opposite of subtle is, it's that. Because I feel like that's kind of a lame trigger word, because I feel the Fiend would come up a lot in conversations like, hey Alexa, are you okay after what the Fiend did to you? Like, they tried so hard, you could tell, to dance around saying those words in her presence before the time was right. And they finally did it. And so, I don't know, come up with something a little more subtle. Like, I don't know, chicken parm. I don't know. We get a really cool hype package narrated by Paul Heyman, discussing the history of the Anoa'i family, talking about how, you know, there's the Wild Samoans, there's The Rock, there's Rikishi, there's Roman Reigns, there's the Usos. And I think it was a really good job, kind of like, in as little time as possible, to try and explain why this family is so important to wrestling, and also just kind of wrapping things up with a description of what's happening in the present, where, you know, Jey Uso and Roman Reigns might as well be brothers. They've grown up together, and they fought together, and they've played ball together, and they've wrestled together. And so at the end of the day, though, the tribal chief is the one who's going to stand tall at Clash of Champions. I thought it was a really well done package. And you could take that same concept, and you could really just like expand on that exponentially. There's only so much time in the night, though. We go to our next segment, where we go from one dramatic video package to another, recapping Bayley's sudden but inevitable betrayal on Sasha Banks. We go to Sasha in a neck brace at the Performance Center. She's very crushed by Bayley's actions here and says they did everything together. And now she says that Bayley is nothing without her, and she calls her an idiot. And we get that oh sound from the Thunderdome again, where it's like there's no, like, you're telling me there's no like fade in button there? You can't just do a gradual fade. You have to like hit that, or at least prep it with like a louder crowd sound before you go into the oh, because no one's that spontaneous, or it's like not that all at once to make it sound good. So Sasha wraps up what she's saying here by telling Bayley she is going to take the SmackDown Women's Championship from her. But as soon as she says that, Bayley attacks. She's been there the entire time. Who would have guessed? She goes to Pillmanize her neck once again, but this time some officials break it up, and so Bayley is able to scamper off, and Sasha's fine, I guess. I thought Sasha's delivery was great in this one. Her words, I don't think felt as strong as Bayley's last week in her expository promo, but the emotion by Sasha, I think, made it feel real. And I go to that again, where it's like the Alexa and Nikki Cross thing, that looked fake as fuck, where you're like, oh, tell me more about this thing that happened last week. Best friend of mine, who I apparently have not spoken to at all between then and now. Whereas you've got this thing with this really close, tight emotional bond, and you can see in Sasha's face how crushed she is by that betrayal. And she's like started to well up with tears and everything. Like, God, like, it's night and day, those two storylines. And I don't know where this Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross thing's going to go, but no matter how they break that up, there's no way it's going to match up the level of intensity, like emotional intensity and gravity, as Sasha and Bayley. There's just no way they can do that. And Bayley continues to look like a real bastard for attacking Sasha again while she's in this really injured state. Our next match sees AJ Styles taking on the uncrowned, AJ Styles is the uncrowned Intercontinental Champion. Sami Zayn is the unofficial former Intercontinental Champion who still has the belt. Sami's arguing with Greg Hamilton about announcing him as the champion as the match begins. It's a good match. I mean, there's not, it's Sami Zayn, it's AJ Styles. They're going to have an above-average match, even on a bad night. In the end, Sami grabs the tights and trying to roll up, but the referee catches him, so it's invalidated. Then AJ immediately does the same thing, grabs the tights, rolls up, and he gets away with it. So AJ wins, and as Sami argues with the referee, out comes Jeff Hardy. He runs up, beats up both guys. He brings out a ladder and some slick evasion tactics. I love what he did there. I've never seen this before, where Sami goes for a baseball slide to the outside. Jeff lifts the ladder up, puts it back down, and just walks like 5 paces back and decks AJ and Sami with the ladder. That was great. I've never seen that before. It was awesome. So Jeff gets on the microphone and challenges the two of them to a triple threat ladder match at Clash of Champions for the title, and I am so freaking there for it. I mean, God, those 3 in a ladder match sounds like it's going to be insane, and so very happy to hear that announcement. It could be the sleeper hit, or it could be the match of the night. We'll see how it goes with the pay-per-view. But yeah, I'm excited to see that. So we go to a continuation of what happened earlier with Otis beating up The Miz and Morrison. And it turns out Otis has been served with a lawsuit. And Miz and Morrison cite emotional distress, unsafe working environments, money in the bank briefcase and negligence, and assault on their First Amendment rights since they claim that the Dirt Sheet is a news program. So they say Otis has 1 week to relinquish the Money in the Bank briefcase or face a lawsuit. And Tucker says he needs a lawyer. And Otis is like, oh, Tucky, we're in trouble. And Tucker goes, no, you're in trouble. Sure, let's get some comical courtroom scenes. I'll take that for a week or two to break up the monotony of Otis fighting Miz and Morrison again and again in wrestling matches. Should be fun. I will say that as I say it out loud, though, Otis has 1 week to give up the Money in the Bank briefcase or he'll get sued. Reminds me so much of back in '98. Remember when Mark Henry threatened to sue Chyna for sexual harassment unless she went on a date with him? Which is that's the definition of sexual harassment. It's so fucked up. That's what that reminds me of when I hear that whole thing. Otis should hire Ally McBeal. Yes, I want to see guest lawyers on this one. Damn good H2O. They do have Joseph Park Esquire. So yeah, that's the latest on that one. But yeah, give me comical courtroom scenes. I will gladly see that. Over wrestling. Show me funny stuff out in the field somewhere. It's awesome. Backstage, Sheamus and King Corbin have a chat, and we see the security guard who helped set Big E up 2 weeks ago for a Sheamus beatdown. Sheamus is very, thank you very much. Anything you want, I'll get it for you. And the guy's like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. Oh, someone's towing your car. I love he's a dumb security guard too. So Sheamus goes out to see what's going on, and it's Big E who's got the jump on Sheamus. He goes to fight him, but Sheamus runs off. So Big E takes all his aggression out on the security guard, who I believe he named Larry for this one. And so he's beating him up. He slams him through the windshield of the car, throws him in the trunk. Now there's a guy who has a perfectly good claim to sue a wrestler. Like, not this whatever ticky-tack bullshit Miz and Morrison are throwing on Otis here. Like, that's a legitimate, like, claim for a lawsuit, I would imagine. So then Adam Pearce tells Big E to leave. I thought it was a fun segment. Good to see Big E come back, get some aggression out. The feud with him and Sheamus clearly not over yet. So, yeah, we'll see where that goes. Right before the main event, we got another mystery sexy lady vignette. She's on her way. Oh, boy. You better get ready. Gird your loins for mystery sexy lady. And, you know, people are saying, last week they were correcting me and saying it's Carmella. Sure, fine. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit who it is. Like, if it's Carmella, cool. That's great. Let's see some more depth in the women's division on SmackDown. Pretty please. Our main event is the Samoan Street Fight as Roman Reigns. Oh, God, I can't believe I made an Armando Estrada reference and then forgot to mention Umaga in that Anawati package. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Sheamus and King Corbin, who this week is celebrating 1 full year as the king. And what has he accomplished since then? I mean, inquiring minds want to know, because I honestly can't think of anything. Honestly, that whole run peaked in the King of the Ring tournament. Flat out. I don't think he's had any as good matches since being king than the run-up to King Corbin in the tournament itself, because that was a dope tournament run for him. I will stand by that. And that was like the one brief time where I actually kind of felt like I was becoming kind of a fan of Corbin's. That was squandered immediately, though. So yeah, Samoan Street Fight here. Jey Uso is double powerbomb through a table, is pinned right away, and kicks out. You hear Corbin yell, "What?" Which, like I said too, like, how the fuck did he kick out of that? Like, that's a match ender, I feel. Like, that's how Kofi lost the SmackDown tag titles. The same, almost the exact same spot. You've got Roman Reigns, the Samoan drop on Sheamus on the announce table, and he spears Sheamus to the barricade. Jey hits Corbin with the Universal Championship. Reigns with a spear onto Corbin, Jey with the splash onto Corbin, and then the cousins win. And so then afterward, like, Jey is celebrating, he holds up the Universal Championship. Roman looks miffed, but then, Jey tosses it back to Roman. It's all good, fam. It's all good, cuz. It's all smiles. It's all hugs. They're happy. They're hugging for a long time. Jey leaves the ring, and right before the show cuts to black, you see the look on Roman's face go from smile to glower. Like, oh, you crossed the tribal chief. You disrespected the tribal chief, and you are going to pay, son. And so that's where it ends. And like that little turn right there is like, oh God, you just cannot wait for Roman to unleash the hate on Jey Uso right now, and just to show him what's what. I have to mute somebody now because you tried to get around a racial slur, and you couldn't do that. You can't do that. You think I'm not noticing what's going on in the chat, but I can kind of notice what's going on in the chat, folks. I got that peripheral vision. I got big glasses here. So that's where the show ends. So now's the time why I present to you my Gorigity grade. Here we go. We give a C+ this week. I think that, I felt it was kind of a lateral move, or a bit of a step back from last week's SmackDown, which I thought was pretty good. I gave it a B-, I think. But yeah, so it's a little bit down, this one. Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, we'll just hide you then. You're done. Fun for you. You dumb motherfucker. Have fun with that. Have fun screaming into the void, you dumb, stupid bitch. Anyway, C+ is the grade I give for this one. Metalik and Cesaro I thought was a good match on paper, but not really. It was in execution. The is for execution. And the Matt Riddle segment, take it or leave it. I can't believe they're trying to keep him on TV right now after what's going on with him. It's just this never-ending cascade of bullshit and lies. And that's kind of where I leave off with that show. I think it was a lateral move. Hopefully next week will ramp up. SmackDown is still very interesting, and it's far more entertaining than Raw in a lot of respects. So I'm looking forward to next week's SmackDown than I am next week's Raw. And we are just going to wait and see what happens. I don't know if the inevitable turn is going to happen on the Go Home show, or it's just going to happen at Clash of Champions. But I'm really excited for just where it goes from there. And so now, as a part of the show, well, first of all, I should acknowledge the elephant in the room. I've not mentioned this once, and so you should applaud me for my restraint. You know what? In this crazy world of ours, sometimes a little retail therapy just gets the job done. You know, makes you feel a bit better. And so, Mikey from Black Label Pro, he was looking to sell this belt. I felt like buying this belt. I'm like, you know what? Now feels like the right time. So, as far as I'm concerned, I am the uncrowned WCW Hardcore Champion. No one else is claiming it. I don't think so. So, come at me, basically. We'll see if we can defend it at next conventions or whatever, if it ever happens. So, that was my fun little impulse buy there. And maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should expand the belt collection. I should expand the championships that are defended in the Wrestling with Regretiverse. Where the hell do I find the collective super... Here we go. The super chats. Here we go. So super chats. We are going to begin with... see here. I think the first one, yeah, it was Ken terminated by DQ with a $5 super chat. Sorry for going off topic, Zane. On your WEW Part 2 video, did I originally think about doing the "gah" catchphrase? You know, I didn't think about doing the, you know, because he's referring to the cold open from the WEW episode this week, where it's a still frame of my old video, and then I walk in at the bottom, and I just say I messed up. I think that was probably more appropriate for just to counter what I said in that older video, saying I'm never doing this again. So... "Gah" is an easy one to do because like it's a small Zane. That's kind of where I've been using that one. But I mean, I didn't think about doing that "Gah" joke there. We're gonna put a pin in the "Gah" joke, you know, for a little while, and we're just going to, you know, that'll come at a later time. When it does happen, though, I think it'll get a big pop. You know, letting you wait for it. Niall Witherspoon with a $10 super chat. Do you think the rumor is true of Ricochet leaving WWE? And if so, where does he go next? I think that rumor was dispelled. I know that, like, I don't know, I forget. I try not to follow all the drama and bullshit of, like, rumors and, like, news of people leaving or going places or what Meltzer says. I really don't follow any of that. And not just Meltzer, but, like, Brian Alvarez or, you know, Mike Johnson or Wade Keller or any of those guys. And it's not because I think they're unreliable. I just don't care. You know, like, it sounds really weird for me to say that, but I try not to get wrapped up in like rumors like that, just because like you never know what's going to happen until it happens. So like, I've met Dave Meltzer. I've seen him plenty of times. He and I always get along. Brian Alvarez, he's a cool guy. Like, I met him a couple times. Like, yeah, like, I don't have a problem with any of these guys except for Brad Shepard. Fuck him. But I think that, yeah, I just don't deal with that. So like, as far as the news of Ricochet, the rumors of him leaving, you know, I'll believe it when I see it. But if he does leave, I mean, I think he'd be fine on AEW. I think it'd be a lot of fun to watch him there, like wrestling with the Lucha Brothers or Jungle Boy or, you know, any of the high flyers right there. And Ricochet did refute the wrestlers as well. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I think, like, he has potential to be good in WWE. He just needs to be used better. Quote the Raven, 79, 49 super chat. So why is Cross sane backstage but crazy in the dome? Also a Paul Heyman guy that actually wrestles for free? Hashtag rest in power RBG. I'm trying to think like what you're referring to with Nikki Cross, because like, I mean, I don't know. Nikki Cross has not been crazy for a long time. I feel, and that was one of the things I noticed the first time when she was on the main roster. What happened to her craziness? Like, she was crazy at first, and she really mellowed out with Alexa Bliss, and I was heated about that. But I feel that like she's like kind of coming to her own. She can kind of like tap into that when she has to. It just depends. Like, it's kind of like I want to do a video about this, just kind of the history of mental illness as a character trait in wrestling, where it's like they can go crazy, you know? And we even fucking saw that in the WEW video this week, where like Cinnamon just in the middle of the match just snaps because she's been beat up too much, and they're like, oh, she's bipolar, Gajulo! And so like, in that crass example, from there you've got, you know, you've got Norman the Lunatic, you've got Eugene, you've got Nikki Cross, you've got Crazy Steve. It's in his fucking name. So many examples of just people who are just like, I'm crazy and I snap in the ring, I do crazy stuff. Even to a very minimal degree, like Mankind, when he first debuted, was kind of like that too. Because then when he was done, you had like the soft piano music, or Festus, who like turned on and off depending on when the bell rang. You know, it's it's a whole thing. But yeah, Nikki Cross, I'm kind of over the fact she's not like crazy anymore all the time as she was in NXT. W Stein 79, $2 super chat. What was the worst reign of terror? Was it Triple H from 02 to 05 or Brock from 2017 to 2019? That's a tough question. I think Brock would be the worst of the two of them because at least Triple H was on TV every week. Brock coming from showing up from out of nowhere to just walk in and regain the title or the Money in the Bank or whatever. I think that it's like it was just one of those things where it was like you're like excited. Ooh, there's Brock, and the sudden realization hits you. It's oh fuck, this again? Like oh jeez, like with Triple H, it was a long slog, and like I didn't like it then either. But I think you could kind of look back and go, you could find a lot more redeeming qualities in that run, I think, than you could in the Brock Lesnar run, in my opinion. What does this say? I have to look up here now. No sense in me. No sense in me with a $10 super chat. Just want to thank you, Brian, for all the hours of entertainment. Need to bring back Captain Lou sometime soon, by the way. Thank you very much. No sense in me. I appreciate that. Billy. Captain Lou, I'm sure will come back at some point in the future. But we will... It's all about timing, and it's all about opportunity. And it's also all about the need to put on that stupid goatee and the fact that Spirit Gum can't hold it up anymore. It's too encrusted with the Spirit Gum for it to be held up now. So one day Lou will come back. Maybe I'll invest in a new facial hair. I do have some beards I need to kind of like trim and like shape to become the new Lou beards. Also, it's really weird. I don't know if I can pull off Lou with a full beard right now because the whole part of the whole costume is that little thing with the rubber band and whatnot. I don't have the beard for that naturally. So we'll see. Having a full beard has not stopped young Brian Zane from appearing in this channel, so anything is possible. Quote the Raven with $3 more. What's the difference between a USA and a Samoan street fight? Samoan and street are alliterative. That's pretty much the difference, and this one had tonight's match at Samoans in them. There you go. Breathing Nerddom, $5 super chat. Could this Roman angle end in The Rock returning as the true chief of the tribe? Also, by the way, I watch NXT on record Friday nights and watch AEW live. That's interesting. I will say, before NXT moved to before AEW came along and before NXT moved to 2 hours, my wife and I would watch NXT recreationally. It was my recreational wrestling viewing, so I didn't have to cover it for my show, and so we'd watch it. We actually wouldn't watch it Wednesday nights. We'd watch it on Friday nights. I didn't give a shit like watching it live or whatever, so I would watch it Friday nights with my wife, and we just enjoy it and have fun. And now it's 2 hours, and it's just like, don't really feel like doing that. We don't have the stomach for it anymore. But as far as like the Roman angle, like could The Rock come in? I mean, that's one way to look at it. It's one way of like seeing a conclusion to it. That is one avenue. I don't think it needs The Rock though. Like it'd be cool, but I mean, what purpose would that serve other than Roman beating up The Rock? That's the only outcome you could possibly see with that. I don't think it would happen. If The Rock came back for a match with Roman, do you think he would really put Roman over? Unless there was a rematch involved? I don't think so. So I don't see a point to that. And if they're going to do it, they got to wait until there's actual paying fans. And you can actually sell tickets to that. That's the only way you could justify having The Rock and Roman Reigns in a match. That is a fantasy match that I think will happen someday. But I hope would happen someday. But it's not going to happen, I don't think, with this particular storyline. Parker Soul saying with a $5 super chat, does Jey Uso kind of look like a fool during all this? I mean, yeah, like it's kind of the thing where I mentioned with Alexa and Nikki, where it's like, and just not just them but anything, where it's like, how can you like they live in this world where nobody watches the tape back, no one looks at the footage. Jey Uso can't look back at the footage and see Roman Reigns give him the stink eye for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Like he doesn't see what's coming. I guess in that respect, like if you live in a universe, or if the universe takes place where they don't do that and they just like turn on and off when the shows are on, then no, I don't think he looks like a fool. But like looking at it realistically and saying, oh yeah, he should be able to see what's coming, like yes, in that sense he does. It all depends on like the way they tell the story and like in canon, like who's watching what. Hang on. Buddy D had a $5 super chat, but he retracted his message. So thank you very much, Buddy D, for the super chat. Greatly appreciated. Ken terminated by DQ with another $5 super chat. Fun fact, when I commented about missing the GAAAAAAHHHH catchphrase under the WW video, nobody gave it a thumbs up to respond. Hashtag oh well. I mean, the thumbs up giveth and the thumbs up taketh away, is all I'm saying. Some comments are over, some comments aren't. And, you know, that one got a lot of comments, so yours might have fallen through the cracks. And, you know, if you... try Twitter. Try Twitter for more feedback, I guess. King of the Ozone with $2 Canadian super chat. Congrats on 300,000 subs. Love you, Brian. I love you, King. Let's see here. Where are we at? This last super chat I can't see, so I have to scroll down a bit. I have to go into the chat to find it. Here we go. The Pure Channel, $2.99 super chat. Thank you for reigniting my love for wrestling after 15 plus years. You're welcome, The Pure Channel. I get that a lot. I get so many comments like over the years. People have said, you know, thank you for you know, for reigniting my passion for wrestling and everything. And that's been really cool to hear. It's not anything it was never a goal of mine, was I'm going to, you know, be this starting point, this catalyst for people. But it's been really cool to hear that. And so it means the world to me when people comment and say that stuff to me, like in person or online. And I'm just really glad that, you know, this humble channel, which, you know, it started out as just kind of a side hobby to make me and my friends laugh, has had that impact on people. And I've had other people say, you know, you've helped me during these really dark times, you've helped me through this depression, like, and that's really flattering, really humbling to hear that from people. And so I don't say this enough, but the commentary from people in that regard, it just means the world to me. And it's just like I never could have expected that, and I'm just so I'm glad that this can provide that kind of entertainment for people. So thank you is what I want to say with that. Am I keeping tabs on the ROH Pure Tournament? Yeah, I'm keeping tabs on it. I've not watched the full episode last week, but I will say it's been definitely turning heads. And I think that in this kind of like, I will say that I think the initial reaction to the pandemic was, fuck it, let's get crazy. Let's do weird, stupid shit and see what happens and see what sticks to the wall. And I think some of it worked and some of it didn't. Whereas I think now that we've kind of gotten over the initial shock of doing wacky, stupid shit in wrestling and silly stuff just for the sake of laughing, I think it's time for wrestling to kind of come back to wrestling. I think ROH has, you know, with their first show back, they just hit you in the face with bam, pure wrestling. And that's a great tactic. And I think pure wrestling is something ROH has always had, even if the pure championship was gone for the last 14 years. So for them to come back and bring it back in this way, I think in that respect, I think having that tournament delayed was kind of a blessing in disguise, because this tournament was supposed to be happening like the week after WrestleMania. It was, in fact, I even said, you know what? I'm not working those shows because I'm just going to have been in Tampa for 5 days. I'm going to be totally just destroyed. I'm not going to get on a plane 2 days later and go to Columbus and Pittsburgh. Sorry, Columbus and Pittsburgh, but I need to rest. So then it ended up, you know, all getting canceled and everything. And that was when the Pure Tournament was supposed to happen. So them bringing it back in this way, and that's how they kick off their TV programming, their return to TV, I think is a really smart move. And, you know, other companies obviously are wrestling, but ROH has always been kind of a home for pure wrestling. And so, like, I think for them to come back in that way is the smart move, and I really applaud them for it. And I really hope I'm brought back for the ROH bubble in October. So fingers crossed for me, guys. I'd like to be able to do that. It's funny because I was talking to, after my interview with Tracy Williams a couple weeks ago, I even said, I think it'd be cool to do that. He goes, be careful what you wish for. Because it is an isolating experience, because you're in a hotel room for like 4 or 5 days. It's literally, you fly in on a Monday and you're tested, and then you wait in your hotel room by yourself. And if you're tested negative, great. And then, like, the tapings are on Friday and Saturday. So you're spending, like, 4 days just by yourself in a hotel room, which sounds insane. But, I mean, like, hey, I could go for a full week just by myself with my work and my video games and just, like, cool. Like, I'm there for it. You know, I can be by myself. It's fine with me. So, yeah, hope I can, you know, just the experience. I mean, I just love working for Ring of Honor. And the time I had with them on the road late last year, early this year, has been some of my favorite experiences in wrestling. So I'd love to get that chance to do it again, in any capacity. Ken terminated by DQ is back with $5 super chat. Would you count Brian Pillman as a man who is psychotic off and on? Ooh, I've not watched enough Brian Pillman like loose cannon promos to really answer that question. Like, I believe it was, he could turn it on and off, and he was like able to, you know, have that persona. And I'm sure behind the scenes he was a fine guy, even though he had his demons. So I can't really speak on Brian Pillman. It's not something I have a real expertise in. I think Mr. Ooh La La, one of my writers, is, though. I think we'll have to ask him that question later on at some point. Yeah, that's where I am right now. I think I'm all caught up on... Oh, shit. As soon as I say I'm all caught up, someone comes in. Julian Solar with a $4.99 super chat. Just want to say you're awesome. I loved your content for years. Have I played Battlegrounds yet? Also, Alexa's sister Abby is nasty. I agree. Her sister Abigail, considering she's been on the floor exclusively, has been pretty good so far. Excuse me. Have I played Battlegrounds yet? No, but I want to. It's been really crazy. Excuse me. All that H2O. It's giving me the vapors. I want to play Battlegrounds. It looks fun. And I want to do a live stream for it. This last couple weeks have been nonsense here. I don't know if you're aware, but the West Coast is on fire right now, and there's a lot of smoke in the air. Even if, Reno, Nevada is not on fire, but we are around. A lot of fires are around us, and so a lot of smoke blows up. And so, the last 2 weeks, we've been totally bogged down by smoke. And I know, like, California and Oregon and Washington have it way worse, and so my heart goes out to them. But here in Reno, like, it's been closing down schools. And here in Nevada, like, we started school earlier than a lot of other states did, and also they were doing in-person classes. And so my kid was in those in-person classes, and then it got moved to distance learning. And so, like, my schedule's been all messed up ever since the last couple of weeks, especially with the smoke. So, in this case, we did not want the smoke. I'm just going to say that right now. Street Profits, you don't always want the smoke. And so, I thought about streaming today with it, but just didn't happen. So hopefully next week or in the next couple weeks, I'll get my hands on it. I'm just playing Fall Guys like crazy now. Like Fall Guys. I bought Tony Hawk 1 and 2, although I don't know why, because I didn't really play it a lot as a kid, and even when I played it, I hated it, because, like, I just couldn't do well at it. Like, why am I a victim to this nostalgia, which never really affected me in the first place? Like, if I want to hear Superman by Goldfinger, I'll just fucking play on Spotify, So, and I also downloaded all 3 episodes of Vader Immortal I still have to do, but VR setup is kind of a pain in the ass. I'm playing Saints Row the Third again, so, like, I'm playing, like, I don't know. I'm trying to, catch up with all my nostalgia. I don't need Super Mario. I don't need a Switch. I don't need Super Mario All-Stars 3D. I got 2 of the 3 games, like, in the original format on Super Nintendo, or on N64 and GameCube. I don't know, whatever. The Tony Hawk reboot is good. It looks great, and it sounds great and everything, but it's just, like, I think other people have more of an attachment to it than I did. And so I'm questioning why I dropped $50 on that, where it's like I'm not even good at it, Let's see here. Breathing Nerddom, $2 super chat. Everyone tweet ROH. Yeah. Hashtag Z-Man for ROH. No, what you should be doing is the hashtag ROH Pure. So I appreciate that, but hashtag ROH Pure is what you should be tweeting out. Patrick Etheridge with $1 super chat. Thank you, Patrick. Joe Mayers with $5 super chat. Who's my all-time WWE crush? And he asks, is it Bayley? No, I don't think it's Bayley. Ooh, who would my all-time crush be? God, part of me wants to say like Trish or Lita when I was younger. I don't know. I thought China looked good. I thought she could get it. China. Piper Niven. But I mean, they're all great wrestlers too. It's not the looks. It's sort of like, I don't want to come off as like a Jerry Lawler. That's not me. So, but as far as an all-time crush, probably, I don't know. I guess because I was so brokenhearted when Trish turned on Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 20, I think that affected me a lot. So, like, I guess by that definition, that's probably the biggest one for me. Victoria, that's a good one too. Yeah. All valid answers, for sure. Mickey James. Admit it was Santina Marella. Oh, God. Of course it was Santina. Are you kidding me? Oh, my God. Those gams. Woo! Hot damn. I think with that, we're just going to wrap this up here. I think that's about as far as I need to go with this. But this has been a really fun stream, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening to me talk about SmackDown and answering other viewer questions. Thank you so much for the super chats. Yes, Mae Young is probably somebody's crush, you know? Don't hate, don't kink shame people. But yes, thank you all so much for watching. If you've not checked out my WEW review, part 2 at least, check that out. I'm very proud of how it turned out, and I'm even proud of the fact that it got monetized. Yeah, I was able to get around all the naughty bits. So then, also, to make up for WEW and the cringeworthy nature of that, next week's classic pay-per-view review is All Japan Women's Wrestling Dream Rush 92. So it's going to be the yin to the yang. You have the cringeworthy, trashy shit, and the actual, like, good, mostly good, barring a couple matches, and I'll get to that in the review, Joshi action. And so I hope that makes up for it. It's been fun, gang. I'll be back here live once again, for sure, for SmackDown. Hopefully for a video game stream with Battlegrounds next week, but we'll all have to see what happens then. Yeah, and check out WEW. What else do I have to plug? There's going to be a special, just in time for Halloween, there will be a special spooky-themed shirt that I'll be releasing very soon. You can hear all about that on Pro Wrestling, on Twitter, social media, Facebook, whatever. I don't know if it's going to be like a limited release on like me mailing it out or Pro Wrestling Tees yet. I'm still working on it, but we'll figure it out. But until then, folks, thank you all so much. I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time.